Then Miriam, the prophetess, Aaron's sister, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women came out after her and danced with timbrels, and Miriam chanted for them, "Sing to Adonai, for God has triumphed gloriously. Horse and driver God hurled into the sea."
We begin with Matovu, as we begin every Saturday, and Hag, and every morning prayer with Matovu. How wonderful your tents. Matovu, Matovu, Halecha Yaakov, Mishkiratecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Halecha Yaakov, Mishkiratecha Yisrael, Vani berov chazdecha, hava v'itecha, eshtachavi al chalkachecha, meiratecha, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkiratecha Yisrael, Adonai Ahavti, Me'on Beitecha, U'Mekol Mishkan Kevadecha, Mishkan Kevadecha, Bani Eshtachavi, V'echra, Ebrecha Lifnei Adonai, Osi, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkiratecha Yisrael, Vani tefilati lecha, Adonai et ratzon, Elohim berov chazdecha, Elohim berov chazdecha, Haneni be'emet ishecha, Matovu, Matovu, Ohalecha Yaakov, Mishkiratecha Yisrael, Mishkiratecha Yisrael.
We have spent so much time thinking about our bodies between last Pesach and this Pesach. And on each day that we pray, each morning that we pray, Shabbat morning, at all times we are aware of the rhythms of our body, the openings, the closings, the way it moves, the way our systems work. And this morning, we give thanks, we acknowledge, and we pay attention to our bodies as we say, "Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, rofechol basar umafli la'asot."
We'll start with Elohai Neshama, which is a little bit different melody. We've sung it before. It starts with a nigun. It's very meditative, and it repeats only the first 5 words, so you can close your eyes when you feel comfortable. So we'll start with the nigun. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai, lai lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yada lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Neshama, neshama, shenatatabi, shenatatabi, Tehorahi, Tehorahi, Lai, 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 lai,
Let's continue together. I find by experience, not by reasoning, but by my own discovery, that God is near me. And I can be near God at all times. I can't explain it, but I am as sure of my experience as I am of the fact that I live and love. I can't explain how I have come to live in love, but I know I do. And in the same way, I know I am in contact with God.
I invite everybody to take your percussion instruments, so use your hands, snapping, right? Snap your fingers, anything you have, tap your table, right? You know our routine, get in the mood. Psalm 150 it's amazing psalm that has a list of all the instruments that we actually had in the first temple. It's amazing. This is the great source for musicians, for Jewish scholars, because there is a list of all the music instruments in one psalm. Hallelujah, 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 Bigburata, Hallelujah, Keroguda, Kol HaNeshamat, Hallelujah, 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 Kol HaNeshamat, Hallelujah, 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 Beteka Shofar, Hallelujah, Benevel Bechinor, Hallelujah, Betov Machol, Hallelujah, Bemini Velga, Kol HaNeshamat, Hallelujah, 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 Kol HaNeshamat, Hallelujah, 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 B'tzilzil Shama, Hallelujah, B'tzilzil Truah, Kol HaNeshamat, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Nice tambourine, Marlene. I can see Marlene, but I don't, maybe some others too, so thank you.
We continue. Let's pray together. Baruch atah Adonai, El Melech Gadol B'Tishbachot, El HaHodaot, Adon Haniflaot, Abocher B'Shirei Zimra, Melech El HaOlamim. Praised are you, Sovereign of wonders, crowned in adoration, delighting in song, eternal majesty.
We continue with Hatzikadesh. You'll hear some melodies sound a little bit different. Hatzikadesh, Michamocha, Barhu. These are Shalosh Regalim, the three festivals motifs called Nusach that cantors use to distinguish Shabbat and other holidays from the three festivals. Yitkadal v'yitkadash me'raba Belmad v'rach yiroteh v'yamlich malachuteh b'chayechon v'yomechon ובחייתך בית ישראל בגלות זמן קריב וימרו אמן ישמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי ולמיה יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה לשמי דקודשה בריחו לילה מנקו ברכתו ושירתו תושבח חמתה דמירן בלמה ויברו Amen.
Just before we rise for our call to worship the Baruch Hu, just a reminder for those who want the transcript across the bottom, and for those who would like to have it hidden, if you go to your three dots where it says more, you can in fact hide the transcript if it is not helpful for you, or you can have it exposed. That's again in the section that says more or live transcript or closed captioning. And with that, we'll invite you, please, in body or in spirit, to rise for our call to worship.
Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Vaed.
Our world is beyond our knowledge, greater than our understanding. Help us, God, to accept what we cannot understand, to love the beauty of creation without trying to control it. Teach us to bend with life, to repair what we can repair, to live with our questions, and to rejoice in your wonders. Or Chadash al Tzion Ta'ir v'nizkechu lanu mehera le'oro. May you shine a new light on Zion, and may we soon be privileged to share in that light. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMerod. Our praise to you, Adonai.
Sorry.
Creator of the cosmic lights.
Excuse me.
We read this passage on Pesach, the last day of Pesach. Our rabbis taught us that 613 mitzvot were given to Moses. Micah reduced them to 3. Do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. Isaiah based all the mitzvot upon 2 of them: keep justice and righteousness. Amos saw one guiding principle upon which all 613 are founded: seek me and live. And Habakkuk expounded the Torah on the basis of a single thought: the righteous shall live by their faith. Akiba taught the great principle of the Torah as expressed in the mitzvah, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. But Ben Azai found a principle even more fundamental. This is the story of humanity. When God created us, God made us in the divine image. And Hillel summed up the Torah in this maxim: what is hateful to you, do not do to others. The rest is commentary. You must go and study it. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Our praise to you. You have singled out your people Israel with love.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta, Le'olam Vaed.
And please be seated as we continue with the Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אלוקים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשבתך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות ידיך והיו לטוטפות בעיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך וישריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeti etchem eretz Mitzrayim, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני Adonai Elohechem.
We say this is our song. This is our song for Pesach. If ever there was one, like Moses, Miriam, and all Israel, we sing out and we rejoice.
Please join me as we sing Mi Chamocha to the tune of Adirchu. You all know the tune, so please sing with me. Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai, Mi Kamocha Nedar B'Kodesh, Nara Tehilot Hosefele, Shira Hadasha Shipul Geulim, L'Shimcha Zifat Hayam, Yachat Kulam, Huduvim Licha V'Omeru, Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ed.
Pray as if everything depends on you and act as if everything depended on you. We continue now with the tefillah. I'll invite you please in body or in spirit to pray with us and to rise.
Adonai Sefer Tiftach Ufi Agi Tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei avotinu v'imotenu, Elokei Abraham, Elokei Yitzchak, v'Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, v'Elokei Leah, El Hagadol Gibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, v'Koneh Hakol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, מביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחי הכל אתה רב להושיע. מוריד חטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נפלי ורפא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בגבורות ומדמלך, מלך ממיט ומחיה, ומצליח ישוע, ולאמונתו ליד הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
Your might, O God, renews the earth with dewdrops of light and blessing. Let the earth be illumined and blessed. With dewdrops of joy and delight, let the earth rejoice and sing out. With dewdrops of life and well-being, let the earth be revived and improved. With dewdrops of redemption, let the earth be redeemed. Livracha v'lo l'klala, l'chaim v'lo l'mavet, l'sova v'lo l'rotzon, for blessing and not for curse, for life and not death, for abundance, not want.
We join together in Kedusha, prayer for holiness. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ, כבודו. Adir, Adirina, Adonai, Adonai, Mahadir, Shir Baruch kevot Adonai mimkomo. Echad Eloheinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Umashiach ve'Yashmiinu, Berachamav l'nei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, ledor vador. Hallelujah. לדור ודור נגיד גוד לך, ולנצח נצחים כרשתך נקדיש, ושיבו אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
And please be seated. אתה בחרתנו מכל העמים, אהבת אותנו ורצית בנו, ורוממתנו מכל הלשונות, וקידשתנו במצוותיך, וקירבתנו מלכנו לעבודתך, בשמחה הגדול והקדוש עלינו קראת. ותיתן לנו אדוני אלוהינו באהבה, שבתות למנוחה ומועדים לשמחה, חגים וזמנים לששון את יום השבת הזה, את יום פסח חג המצות הזה זמן חירותנו, מקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים. You have chosen us in love and favor by making us holy through your mitzvot and drawing us close to your service, that through us your great and holy name may become known in all the earth. In your love, Adonai our God, you have given us Shabbatot of rest, feasts of gladness, and seasons of joy. This Shabbat day and this festival of Pesach, season of our freedom, to unite in worship and recall the Exodus from Egypt. Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, ya'aleh ve'yavo ve'yizacher zichronenu, v'zichron kol amcha beit Yisrael lefanecha, l'tova u'lechen u'lechesed, u'lerachamim u'lechayim u'leshalom b'yom chag hamatzot hazeh. Our God and God of our ancestors, be mindful of your people Israel, and recall our merit for good and grace, and in loving kindness and compassion for life and peace on this festival of Pesach. Zochrenu Adonai Eloheinu bo l'tova, ufokdenu vo livracha, v'hoshienu vo l'chaim. This day remember us for well-being. This day bless us with your nearness. This day help us to a fuller life. Bestow upon us the blessing of your holy festivals, and may we so celebrate them as to be worthy of your blessing. Our God and God of our ancestors, make us holy with your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our way of life. May our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. Let your Shabbatot and holy festivals remain our heritage, and let us celebrate them with love and favor and joy, so that all Israel, hallowing your name, may have cause to rejoice. We praise you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat and the house of Israel and the festivals. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Shabbat v'Yisrael v'hazmanim. Baruch atah Adonai hamachazir shechinato l'Tzion. Blessed are you whose divine presence is felt again in Zion. Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha l'chana elehodot. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose goodness deserves thanks and praise. We continue now with our prayers for peace.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova ubracha. Ya na 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 ya ya na 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 ya ya na 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 sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tova ubracha.
Take a few moments in silence and in prayer.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל באמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
We'll continue now with Hallel, with our psalms of praise intended especially for us to notice and to give thanks and be in awe and wonder and offer praise, as the word says, Hallel, that is in fact the translation of the word Hallel, that we choose specifically for Pesach, and the cantor will lead us in both the bracha and the sing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kireshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu likro et Hallel. Amen. Let's join together in singing Psalm 118. This is the melody by Debbie Friedman, our beloved Jewish composer. It's very simple and catchy, so please sing with me, either the whole song or in the chorus, as you're comfortable. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov, ki le'olam chazdo, ki le'olam chazdo. Yomarna Yisrael, ki le'olam chazdo, ki le'olam chazdo. Yomarna v'taharon, ki le'olam chazdo, ki le'olam chazdo. Yomarna Yirei Adonai, ki le'olam chazdo, ki le'olam chazdo. Another psalm, 118, Pitchuli, that we often sing. So please join me as open the gates of righteousness and we praise Adonai. Yai la la la, 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 la la. Pitchuli shari tzedek havavam odeya. Pitchuli shari tzedek havavam odeya.
We continue now with our Seder Kriyat HaTorah. It's so nice to see our sanctuary. I think we all thank you, Cantor. We all love this particular picture and hope and pray that soon we'll be able to, in some small measure, return to the sanctuary gradually and over time. And in the meantime, that beautiful end of the picture where we see our Aron, where we see the gorgeous ark, you can imagine it, and you can imagine the choreography, and come with us. It is meant for us to imagine and aspire to be back in those spaces. But in the meantime, to connect that moment with this one for our Seder Kriyat Torah, our reading of the Torah this morning, as the cantor will share for us the selection that she has made this morning and is customarily made for Pesach morning at the end of the Chag.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, v'ein k'maasecha, malchutecha malchut kol u'ramim, u'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam v'ayed. Adonai yos le'moiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. We'll continue with the singing, chanting of Shirat Hayam. Just a very short introduction. Shirat Hayam, a song of the sea, is customary to chant on the last day of Passover because this is when we actually made Exodus, when the sea was split and we came through. And this miracle that occurred, and all the Israelites were so astonished to see the miracle, they sang the song, Shirat Hayam. And those who in the Trop class, in the Torah chanting club with me, you'll notice that some of the Trop is different because we insert the festive Trop. And also you'll see that the Torah itself, the text, looks very different. Okay, because it's a poetry, it's a big poem that was sung by Moses and the Israelites. So it's a big, big difference from the regular Torah portion, which makes sense because we want to make it festive and celebratory. I invite everybody to unmute as we recite their prayers before chanting of Shirat Hayam, Song of the Sea. So ready? Let's go. Baruch Hu Adonai, Baruch Adonai, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'korban u'minyanim, ונתן לנו את תורתו. Baruch Adonai, Amen. Don't forget to mute yourself back. אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני, ויאמרו לאמור, השירה לאדוני כי געגעו, סוס לרחובו רמה בים, עוזי וזמרתיה והילי לשוע, זה לי ונבחו, אלוהי אבי ורוממנכו, אדוני איש מלחמה, אדוני שמו, מרכבות פרעה וחילו ירה בים, ומבחר שלושיו טבעו בים סוף, תהומות יחסימו, ירדו במצולות כמובן. ימינך אדוני נדרי בכוח, ימינך אדוני תרוץ אויב, וברוב גנך תהרוס קמך, תשלח ארונך יחלמו כקש, וברוח אפיך נרמו מים, ניצבו כמו נד נוזלים, קפאו תהומות בלב ים, אמר אויב ארדו בסיק, החלק שללתים לאמו נפשי, אריך הרבים, תורישמו ידי, לשפוט ברוחך, כי שמו ים צללו כעופרת במים אדירים. And together there is a Micha Mocha that we recite at every service that comes from this Torah portion. Micha Mocha B'elim Adonai, Micha Mocha Nedar B'Kodesh, Noratet Tehilot Osef Elem. Okay, so let's unmute as we recite brachot after Torah reading. Together. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata betocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu haTorah. Amen. Thank you. Don't forget to mute.
Yasher kochecha. Beautiful reading. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you.
Let's continue as we go from the strength of that moment and those words and the sharing, Cantor, of your beautiful chanting alongside of the powerful text that it is in and of itself, and take what must have been an extraordinary moment of courage and strength, twinned with fear and worry, and bring that all together as we hope and we pray for those who are struggling now, those who for weakness of body or weakness of spirit are in need of healing, of wholeness, of even an echo of that moment as they came through that frightening time. Let us bring that memory into this moment as we pray for those who are in need and say, Mishaberach, Avotenu v'imotenu Yavraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah Rivka Rachel B'Leah, Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and give strength to those who are struggling. This morning we're holding in our prayers Shena Esther bat Ruchel, Chayanecha bat Riva Leah, Katriel Parachia ben Hershel Lazer v'Shoshana, Sally Graff, Sarah bat Abraham v'Sarah, William Fawcett Jr., Alan Skirker, Laura Braun, Miriam bat Ella, Stephen Brent, Rini Feingold, Meredith Cabanis Ader, Reverend Gordon Webster, Irving Manis, Ralph Bookbinder, Masha Batsheva, Greg Novozenitz, Susan Silton Tobias, Kim Stanger Delisle, Marjorie Scherer, and Patrick Doherty. If there are others whom you would add to our list for healing, for wholeness, for strength, please would you unmute yourself and share that name aloud with us at this time, or add your loved one's name into the chat box, and we'll include them in our prayers.
Chadell Shelley,
Anna D'Souza, Melody Guerra,
Atan Aryeh ben Harav Nisim v'Rachel.
Mark Friedman, Elizabeth Friedman, and Dr. George Okrin.
Moshe Avraham ben Mariam, Milt Glendy, Harry Ben Vivian, Dallas Ben Amber.
And we add to our prayers those who have no one to offer a prayer for them, and say, may the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health where possible to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God send them renewal of body and renewal of spirit, the best of what they each need. And let us join together in saying, Amen.
May the source of strength, who blessed them once before us, help us find the courage and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
I share with you this piece written in part by Rabbi Jennifer Gubitz, who reflects and writes, "The dining room table was simply resplendent, covered in her now off-white lace tablecloth. The oak wooden table stood sturdily atop the navy tuft pile carpet, though every year a few more shims were added for leveling. On the soft carpet, slight impressions from hundreds of chair legs left indented memories of the past. In the corners of the dining room where there were white built-in cabinets displaying china dishes with tiny blue and white flowers, wine glasses of every size, a shelf reserved entirely for Shabbat candlesticks, and a rudimentary Hanukkah menorah made of wood and bolts, the sole survivor of Sunday school now coated with wax. The door was open to Elijah. At one end of the table sat his goblet full of wine, waiting for his visit, while across from it, Miriam's cup stood in prominence. The children, who were now adults, still shot furtive glances at these cups. Would the wine disappear this year like it always had? As in every year, there was too much food. He always cooked for 12, even though now there were only 5 or 6 people who might return to this table for Passover. In the foyer, a few table leaves leaned against a corner. "Honey, we don't need them this year," he suggested to his wife. "No, let's put them in just in case." "But Mom," their children echoed, "it's just the 6 of us, and the leaves are really heavy. It's not worth breaking your back over." No, let's just put them in just in case." And so they compromised. This year, 1 leaf would be used. The other would stand lonely in another room. "And Mom, we don't need extra chairs either." It's in these moments, joyous holiday meals and family celebrations, that we remember them. It is in the smell of spices so fragrant, the taste of sweet wine and the shadow of candles flickering, that we recall the days when they sat next to us, and sometimes we can still feel their warmth. And as we recall the story of the Jewish people, of our redemption from slavery in Egypt, we remember also the story of our own families, the journeys and experiences that shaped us, the people and the places and the faces that sat across from us, shared meals with us, shared the stories with us for so many years. We can't help but set a place for them at the table, hoping that they will walk in the door years after they have departed. We can't help but want to hear their voices singing, laughing, and we can't help but want to smell their perfume, to taste their cooking, and to see their smile. While our memories are but a meager substitute for the warm hug we so long to experience, may we find solace and comfort in knowing that while they may be gone, our memories endure. As Passover draws to a close, our memories endure and we remember them. Poet Trish Arlen writes in her passage, "Each loss breaks a pattern. Each loss breaks a pattern, and we remember and we pray. We remember them because they gave us to ourselves. We remember them because we loved each other, and we remember because, well, that is our job. Every loss breaks a pattern, and we pray. We pray and place ourselves in front of the fear. We place ourselves in front of the anger. We place ourselves in front of the grief. We pray and delight in our memories. We pray and listen for music that reminds us that there will be joy again. We pray for the long repair that happens after the pattern breaks. And we give thanks for the ancient traditions telling the story, even when we can't. This morning we remember them. those we have loved and lost, striving to tell the stories that we must. We remember those who died in recent days, those who we remember each year at this time, and all those, the far too many, who have passed away between last Pesach and this one, from a virus that knows no bounds. Those who were given a proper burial, but whose families could not grieve them fully, the way we are taught, supported by loved ones who would sit together, cry together, laugh together, and who would hold our hands and offer comfort. Today we remember them. Despite Seders on Zoom, or those that were smaller than usual because only a few were fully vaccinated, the resonance of the words found in the Haggadah this particular year, that resonance is striking, especially now. That the day would come when Jewish children would ask about the past, about their lives in a strange, distant land, and how they left that land to come to a land of freedom. Then, v'higadata levincha bayom hahu, and you shall tell your children on that day, saying. We know that the name Haggadah means simply to tell. And when we tell the story of past generations to our children and our children's children, we not only remember the past, we pass on to coming generations the experiences, the hopes, the aspirations, and the dreams of our ancestors, giving them continuity beyond their lifespan. It is our redemptive remembrance. It is our sacred duty to tell the stories of those we have loved and lost. Just like the maror, bitter herbs we ate last week, that is hard to swallow and they bring tears, it brings tears to our eyes, so do we remember. We're taught that in 3 different places in the Masechet Pesachim, in a tractate in the Talmud, that the Gemara tells us in order to fulfill the obligation of maror, one must actually taste the bitterness. It's for this reason that the Gemara says one can't soak the maror, eating it with too much charoset, or even swallowing it without chewing it first, as is permitted with matzah. Why, we might ask? Because we are supposed to taste the bitterness and make meaning from it. Our sacred task is to make meaning from the bitterness, from the sadness, from the loss. The Yizkor on Passover is our redemptive remembrance. Pesach is one of 4 prescribed times during the year when we observe Yizkor, the memorial service whose centerpiece is a prayer asking, may God remember people who have died. It concludes with El Malei Rachamim, a prayer asking God, full of compassion, to shelter the souls of the departed beneath the wings of God's presence, and then to Kaddish. So this year we might pray. God, full of compassion, dwelling on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of your presence among the holy and the pure, who shine with the light of the heavens for the souls of our brothers and sisters, all people, men, women, and children, who have been struck by the plague and died because of complacency and racism, chance, and underlying conditions. I hereby commit to do acts of justice in their memory. May the Garden of Eden be their resting place. Oh, please, God of compassion, keep them in the shelter of your wings for eternity, and bind up their souls in the bond of life. The Eternal One is their inheritance. May they rest in peace, and may we all of us join together in saying, Amen. We continue now with our Yizkor memorial prayers. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity, and youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength, or from strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until not looking backwards or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high point along the way, but in having made the journey step by step, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey.
Continue with Psalm 23. Mizmor leDavid Adonai roi lo'esar, binati shir bitzeni, halemei menachari nachareni, nafshi shavev, yancheni b'magli tzedek leman shemo. Gam ekileg megitz al movet, lo yirara ki atay maji. Shiftecha mishantecha, emayen ahamuni. Taroch lefanai shulchan, Dishanta Bashem Rashi, Kosir Vaya, Achtov Chesed Irdefuni, Kol Yemechayai, Veshavti Bebeit Adonai, Leorech Yamim.
From Psalm 121, I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from God who made heaven and earth. God will not let your foot be moved. He who keeps you will not slumber. Behold, he who keeps Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. God is your keeper. God is your shade at your right hand. The sun shall not strike you by day, nor the moon by night. God will keep you from all evil. God will keep your life. God will keep your going out and your coming in from this time forth and forevermore.
Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid kimi mini balemot. Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid kimi mini balemot. Lachen samach libi v'yagel kevadi. Abesari, Yishkon lavetach.
Each person has a name. We each have a name given by God and given by our father and mother. We each have a name given by our stature and smile and given by our attire. We each have a name given by the hills and given by the walls. We each have a name given by the stars and given by our friends. We each have a name given by our sins and given by our yearnings. We each have a name given by our enemies and given by love. We each have a name given by celebrations and given by our work. We each have a name given by the seasons and given by our blindness. We each have a name given by the sea and given by our death. We continue in silence. As we turn to the words of El Malay Rachamim, we'll invite you please in body or in spirit to rise.
El Malay Rachamim, Shohei Bamramim, Hamtzeh Mincha Nechona, Tahat Kanfe Hashchina, Im Giroshim Adorim, Kezohar Arakia, Mashirim, Lenishma Dikrina, Shechol Chuli Alamam, Bararachamim, Yestirim, Biseter Kilafaf, Lalamim, Vitrar Chachayim et Nishmatam, Adonai Onaharatam, V'yanu b'shalom al mishkavam, v'namar Amen.
Fully compassionate God on high, to our loved ones who have entered eternity, grant clear and certain rest with you in the lofty heights of the sacred and pure, whose brightness shines like the very glow of heaven. Source of mercy, forever unfold them in the embrace of your wings. Secure their souls in eternity. Adonai, they are yours. They will rest in peace, and we join together in saying, Amen. We'll invite you please to join us in Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabich l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא סנגי ארצות, ולא סמנק משפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו גהם, וגורלנו ככל חמנם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days and those who died at this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to the wider circles of loss in our community and in every place where grief touches the human family. This Shabbat, this Chag, we are mourning the loss during these last 30 days of Barbara DeCario, of Rick Steinberg, brother of Marcia Bolio, Blossom Voldman, mother of Jeffrey Voldman and grandmother of Mandy Warner, Mary Paikunka, mother of Tom Paikunka, Mark Scherer, uncle of Eric Brewer, Howard Michael Seidel, brother of Grace Ulasowitz, Eileen Kaplan, cousin of Arlene Weisenberg, Joan Harf, mother of Michael Harf, Simon Brightman, father of Blanche Fenster and husband of Josephine. Today marks a yahrzeit, an anniversary of passing for Saul Babin, Albert D. Berman, Leah Brent, Frederick Delheim, Barnett Freed, Irving Friedlander, Richard Guion, David Jacobs, Milton Jacobson, Anna Joel, Lynn Carrigan, Nathan Kessler, Roberta King, Nancy Klein, Marvin Cooker, Sherman Levy, Evelyn Levine, Irma Rosenthal, Paul Roel, Laura Sarakin, Richard Schoenfeld, Saul Schutzer, Al Shalofsky, Leonard Shavik, Sarah Smolowitz, Anita Steinberg, Gordon Wagner, Sharon Wexler, Rose Yaffe, Zipporah Zaidel, and Ann Zoltak. if there are other names that you would add to either list, or names that are better spoken aloud by you, please would you unmute yourself and share that name with us?
Roddy
Ida
Kaz.
Strauss.
Ada Gerber. Samuel Mazer.
Mark Eisenberg.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing as we continue with the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei tefol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha barichu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn. And may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved as we join together in saying, Amen. And please be seated. Just a very few announcements this morning. We have the continuation of the prayer book Hebrew class on Monday evening beginning at 8 p.m. And then next weekend, we resume our regular Shabbat cycle with services at 6 p.m. And then Saturday morning, Torah study resumes at 9:15 with Shabbat morning services at 10:30. You can find a lot of good information on our website. We have a wonderful new adult ed series being offered in memory of Dennis Goldsmith. We're both honored and pleased to be able to do some deep learning in his memory. The first of which is a session called The Mystery and Majesty of the Dead Sea Scrolls with Dr. Joel Hoffman. That will be next Sunday, a week from tomorrow on April 11th at 7 p.m. and many more, another 5 after that. Wonderful discussions, lectures, and discussions in that series. We want to offer a mazel tov to Vicky and Tom Finnefrock on the birth of their granddaughter, Mia Rose. She's the daughter of Megan and Chris, and also mazel tov to her great-grandfather, Seymour Weinstein. And finally, want to draw your attention to the session on Sunday, April 11th, Speaking of Race, opening up to listening, acting, and healing. You can find information on the website about that session as well, and reach Sandy Mitzner. Are there any other announcements that we should know about? Anything from where you are? Any celebrations? Any news that we should know about? Please just unmute yourself and let us know. Okay, well then we will continue as we turn to the very end of our service and this Shabbat morning and Chag together. We'll invite you please to join us in Kiddush, the sanctification of the day. If it's your custom to rise, please do join us, and we continue together.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Amen. L'chaim. We'll conclude with our Passover hymn, Adirchu. Please join me. Adirchu, adirchu, livne veto bekaro, bimhera, bimhera, biyameinu bekaro, el bnei, bnei betcha bekaro. God of might, God of right, you will give you glory. You're so praised in this day as in ages hoary. When we hear, year by year, Well, Chag Sameach, everybody.
Chag Sameach, Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. We hope that you will unmute yourselves, wish everybody a Chag Sameach as well, and move to gallery view so you can see everybody, and wish one another a Chag Sameach and a Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah, everybody.
Chag Sameach.
Everyone.
Good to see you.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom. Good
Shabbat
Shabbos.
Shalom.
What the heck?
Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom. Nice to see everyone.
You will.